She shoved my 80-year-old grandfather right there on our porch, then called 911 and told them we were attacking her. Yep, you heard me right. And the cops didn't just believe her. They took my father's retirement gift as evidence. That was the day I learned the system isn't broken. It's running exactly how it was built for people like her. People who weaponize rules and know just what to say to stay on top. You ever have a day start out so good, it almost feels suspicious? That was that morning sunlight too bright for a Monday coffee. Exactly how I like it. My dad out in the backyard humming over his tomato plants and Grandpa Silas laughing about something I couldn't quite catch. Picture-perfect peace, the kind you almost don't trust because it never seems to last. I'd saved for months to buy my dad that woodworking lathe, a real one, not some garage sale find, but the exact machine he'd circled in catalogs for years while grinding away 40 years, designing bridges nobody ever stopped to notice. Retirement was supposed to be his chapter to build and heal, not just survive. And that morning when the Amazon truck showed up, box so big it looked like it should have had its own seat belt. My heart beat out of my chest. The driver rang the bell and vanished, standard issue these days. "Dad, it's here!" I hollered. He came in from the yard, wiped his hands, grinning like a little kid running his fingers along the cardboard, all reverence and gratitude, and for a second the whole world seemed simple and fair. Then came the voice, sharp, brittle, slicing straight through all that peace like a busted bottle. "Excuse me, what do you think you're doing?" And there she was, Nami Prescott, HOA president, self-appointed guardian of the block, marching across the street in her blue blazer and pink heels like she was about to serve Santa Claus an eviction notice. She walked like she owned the sidewalk, the grass, the air between the houses. I don't think she ever just walked anywhere. She invaded hands, planted on her hips, eyes narrowed like she'd caught us red-handed. "I've seen a lot of porch pirates lately," she announced nice and loud for the neighbors, "and I will be reporting theft." My dad, who never lost his temper, not when I wrecked his old truck, not when the pipes burst, looked her in the eye and said, calm as church on Sunday, "Nami, this is my house, that's my daughter, and this is my gift." But she was having none of it. "That's a likely story," she said, scanning him up and down, eyes cold like he was a suspect, not a neighbor. And you know what I mean when I say there was only one reason she saw my dad that way, a black man on his own porch holding a box. That was my breaking point. "This is our home," I snapped, trying to keep my voice steady. "And you're trespassing." The screen door squeaked open behind me and Grandpa Silas stepped out, cane in hand, blinking at the drama. "Is everything okay out here?" he asked, all concern. Nami whipped her gaze over to him. "Oh my God," she gasped. "There's more of you." "And right there it happened," she snapped, from nosy neighbor to full-blown racist. Grandpa tried to say something, maybe calm her down, but Nami wasn't after peace. She wanted a show. And she lunged right at my grandfather, shoving him in the chest. He's 80. His cane went flying, and if Dad hadn't caught him, he would have tumbled straight off the steps. I don't even remember deciding to move. It was just instinct, this hot, wild anger. I leapt in between her and my family, shouting, "Get away from him!" And she smiled. Not like someone who realized she'd crossed a line, but like she'd just played her trump card. She whipped out her phone, dialed 911, and put on the show of her life. "Help me, they're surrounding me, they're attacking me. I'm afraid for my life." That voice shaking, trembling, just enough to sell it. You want to know how fast the cops show up in a nice neighborhood when the right person calls sirens cut through the street in minutes. 2 SUVs rolled up like they were busting up a gang war, lights flashing, tires crunching over the curb. Officer Gallagher, big guy with a permanent scowl, and his partner Tran, younger and quieter, stepped out. Gallagher went straight to her, not even glancing at us. "Are you okay, ma'am?" he asked, putting a hand on her shoulder like she was the only person who mattered. She pointed at us, full queen mode. Them. We stood there, me still shaking Dad, supporting Grandpa who looked lost, and Gallagher barking, "Can I see some ID?" Didn't even look at the box with my dad's name and address. Dad's voice, steady but measured, said, "May I reach slowly for my wallet?" Gallagher nodded but kept his hand close to his holster like the wrong move could mean something tragic. I handed over mine. Grandpa explained his was inside, but Gallagher cut him off. "You're on the scene of a disturbance, sir. No mention of who caused it. No care for the man who'd been shoved." We tried to explain. I said, "She pushed my grandfather. I saw it." Gallagher barely glanced at me. "Lower your voice, ma'am, or you're not helping your case. My case. Like we were already suspects in a crime." That's when it hit me. Really hit me. This wasn't about right or wrong. This was about who controlled the story. Gallagher nudged the box with his boot. "What's in here?" Dad answered. "A woodworking lathe, my retirement gift. The label, the address, everything right there in black and white." Gallagher bent down, read the label, stood up. "So the box has your name. Doesn't prove anything." My dad's face. If I live to 100, I'll never forget the look on it. "She's HOA president. She said she felt threatened. She says you pushed the old man." That logic twisted all the way around. "She assaulted him," I said, "and you're treating us like criminals." But then Gallagher dropped the real bomb. "We're taking the box as evidence." I blinked. "Evidence of what?" "Of the incident," he said. "Cool as a cucumber until we sort this out." "Dad still," the rock said quietly, "you will not take my property." Gallagher just smiled. "We can and we will unless you want to be charged with obstructing an investigation." That was it, the moment we lost. Dad looked at me, at Grandpa still shaking, and said, "Fine. Take it." Gallagher's smile was pure victory, like he had just won a prize we never even wanted to play for. They hauled my dad's dream machine into the SUV and drove off while across the street Nami watched from her porch, arms folded, smirking like the queen of petty empires. That night our house was so quiet, it felt hollow. Grandpa just stared at static on the TV, Dad silent in his chair. And me, I felt ashamed, not because we did anything wrong, but because it felt like the world would never let us be right. Next morning, there's a cream-colored envelope at our door. Official HOA violation. $500 fine for public aggression and disturbance, mandatory mediation with NAMI, and a demand we admit guilt. That broke me for a second. I wondered if maybe this was it. Maybe the smart thing was to pack up and leave, join the quiet exodus of families before us. But Dad, he read the letter, laid it flat, and said, "Absolutely not." Not loud, not angry, just solid. "They pushed too far. We're not running." The engineer in him was back, but this time building justice. We dug in. I remember the doorbell camera, the whole thing caught every word, every move. We pulled the footage, the delivery, the confrontation, the shove, even Nami's fake call, crystal clear audio, sharp. "No," he said, she said, "just truth." We filed a complaint, sent everything to the ACLU, posted in private groups, and waited. 4 days later, Officer Tran reached out quiet, almost apologetic. He'd filed a separate report. His body cam footage was logged and not deleted. Same day, the email came, "We are prepared to represent you from the ACLU. And let me tell you, when they step in, things move fast." Letters fired off to the HOA, the cops' threats of lawsuits, demands for an investigation. Within a week, the fine was dropped, mediation canceled, and Nami, her house hit the market. Forced to resign, the HOA board dropped her like a hot potato before the news could really break. Officer Gallagher, Internal Affairs opened a file, put him on administrative leave, and last week we got a full apology from the department, delivered not with warmth, but with real visible fear. Watching those officers load my dad's lathe into our truck this time like they were returning something to people who actually mattered wasn't exactly joyful. It was better. It was power, the quiet, earned kind, the kind you feel in your bones after someone's tried to strip it away, and you know they'll think twice before trying again. Because what they tried to steal wasn't just a box or a moment, it was our right to belong. And now, as the dust settles, the lesson's clear. Some folks use power to control, but others use truth to fight back. On our block, we learn that the hard way battle lines drawn not over fences but over dignity and belonging. So tell me, where do you stand? Is justice just who yells first or who refuses to give up when it matters most? Drop your thoughts below, because out here, sometimes the real fight isn't about rules, but about who gets to write the story.